seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But these days the only things that seem great are fading away, and the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road call says the wind blows, 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones, hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows?
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change.
Man, day after day, it's just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing. A part of a machine with the ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that some will never change. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do. Look me in the eye and you will find truth. I'm testifying to the lying in my mic booth. And you're hating on me cause I ain't like you, and I ain't like you.
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change. Yo, my life is like a movie that nobody's producing. I write the music but nobody is moving, cause don't nobody care and everyone's confused till the characters change and never reaching a conclusion. And I don't know if I'll make it to the end, cause all I know is after.
All right, we are up and running. Welcome, welcome. All right, we are up. Oh, excuse me. All right, we are up and running. Welcome, welcome. Hello, good to see everyone. Come on in. It is time for Kicking It with Koz. I am not Koz, I am Owl. Koz is running a little late today, so as I do things, I am going to be typing stuff in and just simply saying hello, letting everybody know that we are up and around. Hello, good to see you, Pookie. Good to see everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm doing one thing at a time here, and it's, yeah. It's going to take me a second or two here and there, but I will get there. It's good to see everybody. Come on in. Come on in. It's a beautiful day. Excuse me. And I am in a good mood. I'm glad to see you here. I am Al. Come on in. Let's be happy. Let's make it a beautiful day for everybody. Let's see. I need to do one more quick little tiny share. And there we go. And there. All right. All right. Today is Sunday, the 5th. Hello, everybody. Come on in. We are now, what are we up to? 19 days into the president's shutdown, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know about you, but I'm doing fine. I hope everybody else is doing fine. Hello, Paul. What's up? Good to see you. Come on. At this point, COVID-19 definitely has some interesting things going on with it. Let me see if I can pull up some real quick stats for you. Hold on. I think I know a way to get to stats really quick. Let's see. Well, I guess I can't. That's okay. Let's see. Let's try this one. Oh, there it is. Is that it? No. Well, you know what? I'm just not willing to sit here and play with it too much, but all right, everybody. it's obvious we got COVID-19 going on. And it's obvious that coronavirus map. Okay, let's go with it. Let's see what it looks like. Tracking global outbreak. There we go. And then map. There we go. All right, so far the United States, we are up to cases totaling 328,861. Deaths 9,368. Per people, cases wise, 100.5 per thousand people. Deaths 2.9 deaths per 100,000 people. Okay, that just gave you some statistics. I hope that helps you out. I know I don't. With me, I'm not exactly as worried as a lot of people, and maybe I'm foolish that way. But I believe that it is what it is, my friends. I'm not going to let it rule my life. I'm not going to let it make me upset. I want to be happy. I want to be positive, and I make that choice to be so. So that's what I do. Many people out there have allowed this to get to them. Many people are doing things out there that not always good, but it's the nature of the beast. When people panic, they panic. New York City seems to be the worst hit at the moment. Washington State on the Seattle side seems to be running in there along with some of California. And that's okay. If you're going to make it, you're going to make it. It's not fun. It's not being fun housed inside. It's not fun dealing with the fact that people aren't working. I personally am... my wife is home. They sent her home 2 weeks ago, and we're dealing with it. We haven't gotten on each other's nerves yet. And that's okay. Best thing you can do, remember, people need their space. My advice is, if you have a significant other, as much as you may love each other, do things that are in different areas for a couple hours. Not to get rid of each other, but to give each other space. So one thing that a lot of people forget about, excuse me, is space. My wife, she's one of those people who is an introvert, and she likes her space. She likes having her own privacy and her own personal space. I make sure she has it, and it makes her feel better. I don't crowd her. I don't sit down and insist on constantly touching. Yeah, right, exactly, Pookie. Clingy people. What you might normally think is a time to be loving and touchy and everything else, may not be. And you may need to take that in consideration. Remember, people, this is an unusual situation. Some people will need, especially if they're not used to being home. I mean, my wife, she's still working. She's working. We actually made a corner office for her in our living room, where she has the patio door looking out one way on one side, and in front of her another window. She opens them up, and then she puts some bird food out just outside this window, so our cats are basically entertaining her because they're bonking their heads into the patio door window. But she brags she has a corner office now because she can look outside and see trees, see the sun, and everything else. And that helps. So for 8 to 10 hours a day, that's what she's doing. So she really, her schedule, other than driving between work, has not changed. She still has to log in. They have to do their bot face down again, huh? Doggone it. Sorry about that, InMixer. So that's what she has to do. And for her, that's actually convenient because that way we're not getting on each other's nerves. If she needs something, excuse me, I'm her IT. I'm her. She has IT at work, but I can probably get to it quicker and figure it out quicker. But that helps her. Keep up your contacts. This is the time where you need to keep your contacts up. Talk to people over the phone. Call people. See how they're doing. Anybody who's shut in, like my mother, she's shut in at this point. I mean, okay, come on. I'm 57 years old. She's older than me. You know she can't be out. And she's a social person. So she has to be more available. In the nursing home, they're busy, but she's used to driving out, going and seeing her friends or them coming in, which isn't allowed. So she's at this point very shut in. She needs things to do. She's on social media a little bit more, and talking to people a little bit more. And that's good. Remember to do those things. Keep in contact with your mothers and fathers. Keep in contact with your daughters and sons. It's important. It really is. That's my thought for the COVID-19. I mean, the whole keep your hands clean stuff like that. Tell you what, I went to the commissary Friday. They were only allowing 50 people in. When one person came out, one person went in. They only allowed 50 people in the commissary at one time. Luckily, I went where I only had to wait outside 10 minutes. It was actually very well stocked. The only thing missing, toilet paper. Literally everything else. They had meat. They had everything. Things are starting to come back. Okay? That's the funny part is when you're outside, they say that COVID-19 is less transmittable. And it's because you have air flowing around you, and especially, well, I'll admit, especially when I was out there, we had winds. So when you're outdoors, you're less likely to catch it because it's not filtered, refiltered air. It's not, the air's moving instead of just settling. So that's the rules for where my commissary. Okay. Now, some of you have the ability to go on base. We've talked about this, where all you have to do is you have your VA cards, and they, as long as they say service connected. Actually, was that it? I think anyway. And if you haven't used it yet, and you're sitting there going, I wonder if they have some stuff that I'm not finding off post. Okay, here's a thought for you. When I go off post, or when I go to Yokes, which is our local franchising here, one of our local franchising grocery stores, they had pretty much everything, except for toilet paper. Their meat selection even was decent. Same thing in the commissary. And they had even more of a selection. So I guess it depends on where you are as to who's able to get a hold of stuff. It depends on your shipping and the commercial lines. I talked to someone who's in Texas, and he said they're having a hard time finding meat. You come where I'm at, not a problem finding meat. So I guess it just depends on the supply. If you want to get on base, remember, if you can, call on base and find out what the procedure is at the visitation center. And the visitation center will, from what I hear, they're going to give you, they're going to scan in your VA card, and then they'll let you on post. And if you want to bring someone else with you who is not your significant other, they may not let you at this point. They're shutting down a lot of stuff like that. If they let you, or some places are even saying not significant others unless they're ID card holders. That's been something that's has come up now. So call the visitation office on the nearest base if you want to do that. Okay. That's my quick little briefing. Things to do. Well, tell you what. Our dump, where we take our extra stuff that we want to throw away, they're closing down now. They're saying they actually had a run where, well, people were stuck at home. So what they do, they started doing house cleaning. And they were getting to the point where they had lines for hours trying to dump trash. That's how bad it got. No joke. People just like, well, you know what? If I'm home, I'm home. Why not, right? So people started doing trash. That was interesting to hear about that. Me personally, we're kind of waiting because, well, we heard that and it's like I don't feel like sitting in a line for hours. So what I ended up doing is, one, I took my RV in for dewinterization, and since I just bought it in November and it's used, they're going through safety checks, blah, blah, blah. Couple more things showed up than I had hoped, but I'll deal with it. I'm going to have a running RV. Word of advice, campgrounds on bases are delaying. The place that I normally go to, they start taking reservations as of April 1st. And then they actually open up everything the last weekend in April. Well, they did not take reservations. They're not going to take reservations till the 1st of May because of what the president has said. And they're going to open up the campgrounds as of the 11th of May. So that's for your own information. So if there's a place you want to go to, campgrounds, anything like that, keep these things in mind. These places are putting things off because even though it's campgrounds and even though there's airflow, campers can get kind of close. People can touch each other's campers, and people come in contact with each other. The bases are taking the safe route and saying there's the possibility of a COVID-19 outbreak is still there. Why risk it? Because there are a couple juncture points, like where you go to pay. Everybody has to go in to pay. And everybody has to go to the same place, and they'd have to all be in a little shack. So, not smart. That's one rule, or that's one thought process. The other thought process is kids. Kids can spread stuff, and just because, well, kids spread stuff. So, they went ahead and they put it off. But don't throw stuff away. Meaning, don't say, okay, I'm not going to go camping this year. When this is all over, and I suspect by the end of April, we'll have some normalcy. Okay? Once that normalcy starts, oh, and Koz will be here. Don't worry. He's due here in another 10 minutes or so. Once normalcy starts back up, people will need to get out. And two, they're going to need people to spend money because jobs need to open back up. What was it? They said that as of Friday, when I listened to the news, the first day that they opened up, which was Friday, the banks opened up the ability for small businesses to take out loans, and that would immediately turn into grants if they took the money for payroll, for employees, insurance, and property. Those loans went over, I think they said, $5 billion. So there are going to be some companies that are going to be expecting to immediately kick into gear the very second all this stops and they allow people to go open. Now, here's a thought for you. They finally are advising masks. Big news, right? I said cloth masks, okay, aren't the best, and they even admit cloth masks aren't the best, but they are advising them as of right now if you want to go outside and be in places where there are people. And here's something that's been coming up, and I think this is going to be something pushed, okay? They're saying that the next phase, as long as they give us, the scientists and doctors give us the okay, the next phase is going to be, okay, you can go to work, but still social distancing and, if possible, masks. So, if you're handy with a sewing machine, might want to start thinking about making your own masks. I think you can buy cloth masks now, and I know a couple people that there's some people I know of that are making them. It might be a smart thing to do. Have a mask, like 2 masks, and you can wash a mask each day and just keep switching back and forth. I think that might be what they're going to try to do next, because I think they're modeling after South Korea. In South Korea, a lot of people were wearing masks already because of pollution. Excuse me. And so they had already said go ahead and just keep wearing them, and they're already starting to see recovery. So they're taking the hint, and they're going to go ahead and start moving into that. Maybe we should have said masks in the first place, but of course we didn't have many masks to begin with. So that's what they're doing. And if you didn't hear, the Defense Act was initiated. The president hasn't had to use the Defense Act, except for with one company, and that one company was 3M. Because 3M started shipping out masks to other countries that were being made here in the U.S. And 3M said it is not smart to negate those contracts and just throw everything to the U.S. That's not proper in the economy to do that, because at that point, the other countries will be pissed at you and look for revenge. The president went ahead and went ahead and said, I'm going to go and enact the Defense Act on 3M, so any mask from here on out come to us. That's the only thing he's really had to do. Everybody else has been kind of chipping in. I found that's pretty cool. A lot of good people, a lot of good things have been happening. A lot of companies are just doing it without being asked. A lot of shoot, excuse my language. Um, a lot of places are just saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. There are now, like, what is it, here in where I live, the mayor and the city council are actually part of a group that are delivering meals to kids during this time. They just did it. They didn't even tell anybody. Someone just finally saw them doing it. The mayor and the city council are doing that. There are a lot of people actually showing themselves. The good human side. Now, I didn't say there weren't bad people. I mean, come on, let's admit it. The whole thing that's going on in D.C., some of that stuff, I tell you what, I'm not happy with it because throwing in, I mean, Trump asked for a straight bill, a clean bill, for the extra money for people on his phase 3, and people couldn't help but throw in some stuff that was unnecessary. But here's the kicker. Okay, one of the things that got thrown in there was money for the Kennedy Center to keep it running. $25 million of our tax dollars went to the Kennedy Center to keep it running. As soon as that bill went through and the money hit them, they fired everybody. No joke. Not everybody, excuse me. They fired most everybody. It's like, whoa, you just got a whole bunch of money, and it was to keep it open, and you fired people? Wow. That's not the best of us. But there is a lot of the best of us. There's a lot of good of us still out there. People are doing things for each other. People are helping each other. Excuse me. This week, everybody I think knows at this point, I have recordings that are meditations. I'm actually going ahead and doing them live on my John Owl page, or no, on my Healing the Human and the Bee page, which you can find through John Owl. I'm doing that. And I'm not asking any money. I'm not asking anybody to buy my recordings. People need to be able to calm down. People need to be able to relax. And unfortunately, it's hard to relax when you're worried about your bills. It really is. And I know that. But it's possible. If you're having problems, hey, look up John Owl, message me. If you can't find the link for Healing the Human and the Being, if you find it, you'll find me. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be doing every other day or so meditations to relax. This is why we should run the virus like a nuclear reactor. People are control rods. Viruses reactivity. More rods get dropped, the less reactive the core will be. Will some rods get used up? Of course, but the reactor core will adapt. Simple Darwinism. Thank you, David. People have a choice at this point to make it or to not to make it. And I know y'all are tired of hearing about the COVID. In the second hour, we're going to talk about stories, funny stories. I'm waiting for Koz. He should be showing up here any minute. We'll have our back and forth. And in the second hour, we will talk about funny stuff and good stuff, because that's the one thing that we have to remember is good. There are people out there that aren't. And we know that. But there are a lot of people that are. And the people that are starting to really show themselves. There are people donating money to food groups anonymously, not wanting to be known. Millions of dollars to food groups to feed kids. Because there's a lot of kids out there that depend on those school lunches that don't have them now. You know, the complete government takeover, I agree. Trump is trying to keep it from going too far, but unfortunately, some people are still pushing the agenda of government takeover. I heard some of the stuff that was being put into that Phase 3 bill, and it was just overwhelmingly uncalled for. They still got some pork belly in it, but not as much as they wanted. They wanted to make it so that they wanted to make it permanent. They got it temporary. They made it so that people who go on unemployment and on welfare temporarily get a raise. They were pushing to make it permanent. They were pushing to make to lower the standards for getting on welfare, so that it would be. They were trying to make it so that you didn't have to apply for jobs while you were on welfare. They made it a temporary, not a permanent, because of course right now jobs are going to be hard to find because a lot of things got shut down. There were a lot of things that got put on there that you really have to that were going to be on there that fortunately didn't make it. Symbol doesn't have an asterisk stating unless there's a pandemic. I understand, Pookie. I understand the want to assemble. And I understand people don't like being told you can't. But I'm one of those people that if someone were to go to a crowd and one of those people had COVID-19, they just gave it to probably 10 to 20 people, maybe even more. And those people don't know that they've had it for 2 weeks. And they've just given it to a bunch of people they met up with. And those people don't know that they've had it for 2 weeks. And eventually that makes it back to someone like me. I've had pneumonia. I do not want it again. And this is worse than pneumonia, from what I'm being told. It's very destructive. Mind you, they have treatment for it that seems to be promising. And I'm happy to hear that. But I don't want to be one of those people that gets it. Okay, flu and cold. Big difference. Okay, and there is a very big difference. A flu and a cold are not pneumonia. Hold on. I think we just got our Mr. Koz. Hello, hello. Hello? Hello? Okay. Let me check, make sure I'm being registered. Hold on. Hello, hello. Yes, I'm being heard. Hello? So that means that Mr. Koz might be having some problems. Uh-oh. All right. Anyway, hello, Kamo. Good to see you. There's a big difference between the cold and the flu, and I will say this. or I should say the cold, the flu, and COVID-19. The cold and the flu, yeah, hit it with a screwdriver, right? All right. The cold and the flu, you can get rid of fairly simply. They don't move into your lungs automatically, and they don't put your body into a position to where it can't fight. They're finding the reason older people are having problems and people with compromised immune systems are having problems. Hold on. Is because COVID-19, what it does is it immediately becomes pneumonia. It goes straight to your lungs, and it immediately starts destroying. Pneumonia, it acts like pneumonia, but worse. Okay? That's the reason. That's the difference between flu and cold and COVID-19. You're right, Kamo. They did not do this for SARS or swine flu. There was a debate about that. The H1N1, which is this, isn't that the swine, I think? Or is that the avian? Anywhere. There was a debate about that. Should we have reacted like this back then? Back then, it was more of a flu. People, and not becoming pneumonia. Some people died from it, but it looks like the numbers are going to be higher with this than with the swine flu, avian, and SARS. Okay? It goes back and forth, and I can't... I listened to the debate, and they're saying that the numbers are going to compare more... what is it? Oh, the Spanish flu? Or the Spanish... Was it the Spanish plague? I'm trying to remember. The one in 1918. Okay, they're comparing that to this to that, as far as numbers. And mortality. With SARS, swine... Spanish flu, there you go. I was right. The Spanish flu, we didn't have the medications back then to fight it like we do now. So the Spanish flu, if you were to catch it now, you wouldn't be as much risk. But that's just it. We are just now figuring out what will help this one. Reporting a lot of deaths on COVID-19 without evidence. That's just it, okay? That's the other part of this that is interesting. Thank you, Fuki. There are a lot of people now talking about some of these deaths, they're counting as COVID-19 deaths when these people died, but they can't prove that it was COVID-19 that did it, but they had COVID-19 in them. In other words, they could have been pre-COVID or post-COVID, but they somehow died, and and when they tested, they said, "Oh, they had COVID-19, so check mark. That's what we're going to call it." So, yeah, exactly. But you know why they weren't waking up, Kamo? Is because back then the flu didn't have things to help you, or back then they didn't have things to help people who had the flu. And so therefore, quite honestly, back in 1918, what you and I would consider a regular flu, that, okay, we're going to be down for a week, was possible death sentence. back then. They didn't have anything to fight it. That's the difference. And they're saying the same thing about COVID-19 now. There are people that are reporting they had it, or they didn't show any signs. They laid down, 10 hours later, woke up, and they were completely immersed in pneumonia. So, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. And that's the problem, is this is a learning curve. They've got some of the best doctors right now. They really do. Hello?
If you are able to hear your voice, you have configured Skype correctly.
You figured it out?
I did. I'm so smart.
Good.
My gosh. So what do I do all day? I take care of tech issues at work, only to come home and have tech issues myself. Thanks, COVID-19.
What?
I said, thanks, COVID-19.
Sure. All right, that's it. Everybody, let's blame everything on COVID-19, not ourselves. COVID-19.
Everything is getting blamed on this shit.
I have a hangnail. It's COVID-19.
Right. You know what I found is that now, and I think Minx put this out, and then I was looking into it, and it's like cause of deaths.
Yeah.
If the person who died has antibodies for COVID-19, doesn't matter whether they're suffering from the effects of COVID-19.
Yeah.
But if they test positive for the antibodies for COVID-19, the rule of death, the cause of death is being attributed to COVID-19.
Exactly, and that's what was brought up with Pookie.
Yeah.
he sat there and said, "Well, they're saying at this point that people are saying they're ruling deaths as COVID-19 when they aren't, and that's they. In other words, they just happens to be in their blood system."
So I mean, but what's the? I mean, do they get more money?
That's the question. Why would they do that? And I have. This is where you put on your conspiracy hat. Are they trying to throw the numbers up to panic people?
I don't know. I really don't know. I did see a really good video. If you go to Koz WTF Nation Radio Facebook page, I did post a link to a video.
Okay.
From a guy, because I don't understand the disease. I'm just like, okay, it's like pneumonia, which is about the closest description, because most everybody knows what pneumonia is. So
yes.
You say, okay, this is like pneumonia, and it is. It is like pneumonia. But there's a doctor out there, Dr. Wong, who, I mean, it was a good long video. It was about a 40-minute video, and he had a whiteboard behind him, and he had a picture of lungs, and he had some sponges in his hand, and he talked about the alveoli in the lungs and how this thing happens.
Yes. How
the infection happens from the very start to the very finish of it, and is really, really good. He breaks it down Barney style, dude, and I need that because I'm not that smart of a guy. So it really, really helped.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's just and he talked about the most dangerous part of it is the asymptomatic transmission of it.
Yes.
You can carry it and not know it. You can carry it and not get it.
Exactly. Most
people will get it, at least in some way. You will start exhibiting symptoms. Some will be worse than others. He said 80% of the people are going to be just perfectly fine, and then there's the other 20%, half of which are going to end up in the hospital because of their symptoms.
Yep.
And 3% of those are going to die.
Yep.
So everybody's at risk because there's no. It's novel. It's new. We've never been exposed to this before. It is a version of SARS. This is SARS-CoV-2.
Yes.
So this is something we kind of have been exposed to. Some people have, but this particular bug, nobody's been exposed to.
Yeah, and that
so our bodies just don't know how to handle it.
No, and they're actually saying that it's our bodies try to fight it improperly, and they said that's the reason the anti-malarial that they're now thinking is actually starting to show good results. They're saying that's the reason it works, is because it undoes some of what the body tries to do.
And he said that the reason people are dying, and he goes, and this is just to break it down, he says, is basically your body's immune reaction. It's your body's immune system fighting this thing, and it's actually killing people.
Yes.
Because what's happening is all this bug does, it goes into your lungs, and it's a foreign object, so your body starts to fight it. And those cells start to die, and then that causes a chain reaction.
Yes.
So your body's trying to flush that out, and then this happens. It's a respiratory illness, so this happens in your lungs.
Yes.
And slowly your lungs begin filling with fluid, and which is the pneumonia comparison, because that's kind of what pneumonia is.
It is.
So that's it.
Exactly, and I got people going, no, it's not COVID-19, it's Carol Baskins.
That bitch. I still haven't watched it. And you know what I saw today? I saw that Netflix, some dude who was on the show, announced that Netflix is going to release like one more episode.
Really?
Of Tiger. They're going to like tag it onto the end with Tiger King, I guess. I don't know. I've never watched it. It is not on my to-do list to watch. I'm not ruling it out completely. But it's not a show for me, man. I don't know. It just seems like a train wreck. I see too many train wrecks.
Oh, there are. Trust me. I watched it, and trust me, it is a train wreck. And some people might find it hilarious. I did not whatsoever.
Well, for the same reason, I didn't watch the Jerry Springer show. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just a human tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't want to watch that.
Going to your point, Pookie, I found this interesting. Pookie brought up a good point. How about all the empty testing tents in hospitals in New York? Okay, they got the SS Mercy in New York. You know how many patients are on it right now?
I have no idea. I think its capacity is 1,000.
They only have 20.
I heard that they accidentally, and I'm saying that in air quotes, admitted some patients that were COVID positive.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And that's like a big oops, because now you just contaminated that ship. I think the purpose of that ship was not to treat COVID-19 positive people. It was to treat people that needed other medical attention.
Well, and that's just it. The pre-staging was supposed to happen at that arena that they set up as a hospital. They were supposed to pre-stage there, go through and decide from there who needed more of a real hospital setting versus the less hospital setting of an arena.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, if that happened, and see that sounds silly because they've got these machines now that they can have a test done in 15 minutes. They now have.
I've seen the test performed. It doesn't look that comfortable.
They now say that they can test for COVID-19 in less than 15 minutes on anybody.
That's good.
And so you would sit there and think, well, wouldn't they automatically test each one of those people going there? But if that's the case, oh my, that's not good.
It's like you have to empty the ship for 4 or 5 days.
Yes.
And then start bringing people back.
They have to empty it. They have to wipe it down, change out everything.
I'm just saying because that stays on surfaces for, I think the longest period was 4 or 5 days.
And but
most everything on that ship's probably stainless steel anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a 3-day.
They've got to wipe it down, and then they've got to check every one of the people on there.
Right.
So, I mean, because
this is definitely a challenge, and there's a lot of backseat drivers going, you should do this and you shouldn't do this, and I'm like, and no one's really going to know if we're overreacting. I mean, some of the actions are probably a little bit far-reaching, and we're not going to know if we overreacted, but we'll damn sure know if we underreacted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The command
is, just do what you do everything. I don't care. I don't want to see my kids or my parents get it.
I got someone talking in the Moments room that's kind of thrown out some interesting stuff.
How about I just get in there and pay attention?
The CSH Combat Support Hospital out of Fort Campbell in New York downtown working on COVID patients.
I saw that they were headed that direction.
And he also says, no, I have a active sergeant major that works in public health, and there is infectious control on that ship. Okay. I'd rather be a part of knowing the truth. I'd rather know the truth than spread rumors. So, wow.
True. Yeah. I mean, there's so many facts. I guess everyone's got these facts coming out. And sometimes, these facts are counter to other facts that come out. And I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'll listen to the doctors. And I don't really care what media says.
I agree.
Pay attention to what media says. I don't care what anybody says. If a doc tells me, "Hey, this is what's working," or "This is how you prevent the transmission of it."
Yeah,
this is what lessens your chances of getting it. Guess what? I'm going to do that. I'm washing the shit out of my hands, man.
So, how has your binge watching been?
I've been really busy this weekend. I haven't really had a chance to binge anything. I have been watching Person of Interest, and I'm going to be in that for a long time because it's 5 seasons long, and there's like 23 or 25 episodes per season.
Yeah.
So I'm right in the middle of it. I'm like midway through season 3. Right
nice.
And I like it. It's a good it's a good show. It keeps my attention. So I'll watch it for like an hour. I'll get home from work and I'll watch. I'll eat dinner and watch an episode. I don't spend a lot of time in front of a television set.
And see, with me now, of course, I've told you my wife is home, and
I'm not one of those persons that are jobless or non-essential or whatever.
Exactly.
I still got stuff to do.
He gets to go to work every day.
I get to go to work.
He doesn't have to.
Essential.
He doesn't have to deal with the traffic.
Oh, dude, traffic. Man, it's like the rapture happened tonight. A little bit of traffic going. I went into work about 11 o'clock today.
Yeah.
And then on the way back, it's like, man, somebody just kidnapped all the people. Everybody's gone. There's very, very little traffic.
My wife and I were coming home from base after getting groceries Friday, and it was 5 o'clock, which is the worst traffic in where I live.
Mm-hmm.
No traffic.
None whatsoever.
It was little bubbles of cars, and that's about it. I mean, Pookie says, "Ooh, Koz is essential. Isn't that special?"
My daughter's been getting a hazard pay for working.
She's Costco, right?
She's Costco. That was actually she forwarded me the email, and it's actually from Jarvis or whatever his name is. He's the CEO of Costco. So he's the big boss.
Yeah. Well, that's cool that they're a lot of places, I guess, are paying hazard pay.
A lot of people are doing that. Home Depot is doing that. Lowe's is doing that for their employees. So it's good.
Yeah. Let's see. Here in Mexico, they have Penisol that on the ingredient states coronavirus human since 1 year ago. Interesting.
There's different. Coronavirus is a wide-reaching viral infection. This is the novel coronavirus. Novel meaning new.
Yeah.
So this is just a new version of that.
Exactly. And the only good part about it is it's not a mutator. Fauci finally confirmed it. He said that as it looks, they can make a vaccine and they don't have to worry about heavy mutations, so the vaccine should actually work strongly. Because they said they've been watching it, what little information they're getting out of China, and along with what they're getting from everybody else who is sharing information, they're not seeing mutation. And so
I don't anything that comes out of China, I don't believe any of it.
Well, I agree. But they said
zero.
They're also,
someone needs to corroborate that kind of whatever they're saying. It needs to be confirmed.
Well, but that's where South Korea, Japan, Italy, Spain, and all the other places, the scientists are sharing information. And what they're showing so far is that there isn't a mutation going on. And for those of you that don't understand what I'm talking about, a lot of flus out there, how we always hear it's time to get our flu vaccines or vaccinations starting somewhere in around August, September. And you sit there and say, okay, we got our vaccines, but I still end up with the flu. That's because a lot of flus mutate. And when what the people who are in charge of coming up with the vaccines for the upcoming year are in charge of is they have to guess which strain is going to come out, and hopefully they pick the right strain, and also is that strain going to mutate something they don't know.
So Pookie said he's still not getting the vaccine. So if a vaccine does come out, I will be watching very closely and monitoring those who do get it.
Yeah.
And I'd really be interested to see what side effects there are, and then I'll make my decision.
Here, I'll remember Walking Dead's virus killed people with flu-like sickness, and 2 hours to 7 days dead become Walking Dead. I love you, man. Thank you, David. I love it. You brought that up. You went there.
No, seriously though, if there's a vaccine, I don't see a reason not to get it unless there's some horrific type of
side effects
like getting sick.
Well, and that's I'm starting to think that I know the doctors are going to push me to get it. First thing I'm going to tell them is show me some people that have gotten it who have autoimmune diseases, and as long as I don't see a bad reaction, okay, fine, I'll get it. I Am Legend, vaccine causes zombies. There you go, another one.
The auto, and I'm just thinking, I don't have any medical background. I am not a doctor.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to even spell the word. But if you have an autoimmune issue or a deficiency, it doesn't seem like this would be. It seems like what's killing people is people's immune system. So if your immune system is diminished, you might have less of a reaction.
No, that's the unfortunate part. People who have autoimmune deficiency, it's that our immune systems react improperly. Most of us. Some don't have an immune system, and some have their immune system reacts improperly. Mine reacts improperly. What happens a lot of times, the body is supposed to try to help itself. That's its normal course of action. My body attacks itself. And so the likelihood, like when I catch something, my body attacks. Instead of trying to clear it up, it actually floods it, causing more issues than helping. It'll cause inflammation issues on top of it all, which does not help, especially when you're trying to breathe. Oh, here we go. The person who's been talking in the WTF moments. I had coronavirus 4 weeks ago, confirmed from San Diego, and I came to Mexico to wait it out. Never showed symptoms, and neither my family got sick. They took blood sample and they have my military immunizations and waiting to see. They took my plasma 2 weeks ago and gave it to my family, and still negative. 90 days ago, we don't eat processed foods. Okay. Yeah, and Pookie's right. Some immune systems super react. What the autoimmune disease is a big overall heading, kind of like the flu is an overall heading. There's many types of flus, but the flu, when you say you have the flu, that's what is the heading of it all. Autoimmune disease is the same way. I have an autoimmune disease. Doesn't mean my immune system reacts the same way as someone else who has an autoimmune disease. So it's weird. Mine will overreact. It inflames. Excuse me. And so I have to worry how it's going to react when they give me a vaccine. I've been flat out told not to have live vaccines. You still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I can't
have I'm trying to do two things at once, and it's not working.
I can't have a live vaccine. That's a big no-no for me.
You might have to wait.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd want to play with a live vaccine as far as this goes.
And see, Pookie, he's talking about stuff, and yeah, Pookie, you probably have an autoimmune disease. Because when he gets sick, his joints swell. That is a normal reaction of a bad autoimmune system. Or a bad immune system, your autoimmune system.
Scary stuff, man. I think I'm just going to opt for my social distancing and washing my hands and a lot, especially when I'm out. You know, when I'm at work, or if I go to pick up some food or whatever. It's just stay the hell away from people.
Yeah, and yes, I know we have the SAP button, which sits there and tries to say what I'm saying, but put it in writing, and some interesting things can come out of that. I've seen people use that, and some interesting words come out of that, don't they? What I say and what that thing shows are two different things sometimes. Have you noticed that, Koz?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I was watching that earlier. I'm just like, that's not what I said, but what are you going to do?
Exactly. Anyway, so that's what I can tell you about autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune diseases or immune deficiencies, they're not the same. And depending on how your body attacks is what you have to worry about. Me personally, like I said, I will probably, unless it's going to have to be a synthesized, it cannot be a live vaccine, because a live vaccine will cause a response of inflammation with me. And that's the last thing I need. Every time I get a cold, it drains right to my lungs and becomes bronchitis. David, excuse me, that's how my problem started. That's when my immune system started going downhill. So you might want to start talking to your doctors about that. Okay? Because that normally means that your immune system is causing an inflammation reaction. Just so you know. Anyway, we are at the top of the hour. Are you going to stick around, or are you going to go ahead and close it up?
I gotta eat.
I thought so.
To go back to work.
I thought so. Anyway, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break. I will be back. Please do not take off. We are going to talk about some fun stories. We're going to get off the serious subjects and talk about the good side of humanity and the silliness of humanity.
All right, everybody, go wash your hands.
Go wash your hands. Get up, stretch, touch your toes, and we'll see you in 10 minutes. Until then, please, we will be right back after these 10 minutes.
See ya.
Shots.
Before coffee on a Tuesday, it's already been a bad week. My girls had a couple flats, and my dishwasher sprung a leak. From the kitchen, her complaining, you know it just ain't cute anymore. I get the itch and start to drift towards the great outdoors. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot, I hear the call. I just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. Junk mail don't come out there, my phone won't ring. The only thing I want to hear is my reel with a big one on a string. That large mouth don't talk at all, and my weight just sinks away. Set him free, bring him home, the one decision I gotta make. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot, I hear the call. Just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. I got my tackle box in the front seat and my best friend in the bed. Don't come looking for me, 'cause I ain't coming home till long after that sunset. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. I got the rods in my garage down on the wall. Threw my John boat in the truck, filled my camo cooler up. I hit the reset, hit my spot, and heeded that call. I just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. No, I ain't gone messing, I've just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone.
Catch me hopping out the car with some honeys on my arm. We're so out of space that we're shooting for the stars. We got a little taste and we want a little more, so I'm whittling this shit to roast these hoes with the s'mores. We're heading coast to coast, never searching for the shore. We're going to the city where we get all our support. We're the next best thing while y'all are coming up short. All the fans, they want us, ladies really love us. Haters always run up, man, they try to fucking shove us. But when we tell them glove up, we turn fighters into runners. Come around here, get done up, you know we on the come up. Woken from a slumber, boy, don't give your girl my number. And you ain't never heard nothing like this. A little bit low, little high pitch. And you ain't never heard nothing like us. But everywhere we go, man, everybody knows now. You ain't never heard nothing like this. A little bit low, little high pitch. And you ain't never heard nothing like us. But like I'm looking for a rival. Been thumbing through my lyrics like they were verses in the Bible. Rehearsing the verse like every single line was vital. You do this shit for fun while I do it for survival. I'm coming out hot like the bullet from a rifle. I'm headed to the top, boy, I think I'll take the title. So I'm entitled to this throne and I've been waiting quite a while. Been talking behind my back, but your girl, she likes my style. I'll add her to the list, then I'll throw her on the pile. Come in with a poker face and leave you with a smile. You came to face the facts, but you're all still in denial. Throw it on the vinyl, like you have missed my raps. Haven't heard that one in a while, bitch. And you ain't never heard nothing like this. A little bit low, little high pitch. And you ain't never heard nothing like this. Well, everywhere we go, man, everybody knows now. You ain't never heard nothing like this. A little bit low, little high pitch. And you ain't never heard nothing like this. Well, everywhere we go, man, everybody knows it's us. Everybody knows it's us. Everybody knows it's us. Everybody knows it's us. Spent my life in the mountains of East Tennessee. Days on the farm, it just comes naturally. Daylight to dark is not for the typical man. Just a backwoods country boy, proud of who I am. Proud of who I am. Proud of who I am. Well, this is my rifle, this is my gun. Let's get 'em, boys, come on and get you some. Let's get you some. And I'll fire all my rounds downrange till the enemy hits the sand. Yes, sir, I knew exactly what I was doing when I swore to Uncle Sam. If you don't like the way I'm living, just remember that it's for you. I'm a redneck camel wearing son of a gun for the red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. Pack my bags, headed out to the big sandbox. Just some good old boys and me, some made it some night. Well, the price of freedom, son, it don't come free. I guess that's why the good Lord chose me. This here's my rifle, this here's my gun. Let's get 'em, boys, come on and get you some. Let's get you some. And I'll fire all my rounds downrange till the enemy hits the sand. Yes, sir, I knew exactly what I was doing when I swore to Uncle Sam. If you don't like the way I'm living, just remember that it's for you. I'm a redneck camel wearing son of a gun. I'm a
WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
All right. We are back up and running. And we are going to have another guest. We got him rolling in today. So that was some good music. Good to get the second half started. We're going to be a little bit more light this next hour, not be so worried about COVID-19. And here we go. Hello, hello.
Hey.
And this is Pookie.
Well, thanks for the introduction.
Everybody, we got our good friend Mr. Pookie up and talking with us. We're going to kick off the second hour with just having some fun, relaxing. Yeah, people notice I changed shirt. I'm wearing my hippie shirt.
Oh, you got the tie dye on. I normally am wearing a tie dye unicorn kitten T-shirt if you see me out in public.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm wearing the tie dye shirt that has both green and yellow in it, so therefore it kind of gets lost with my green screen. So, hey, it makes for entertainment.
Oh, that should be trippy.
It's all in good humor, all good fun. Anyway, I noticed you were chiming in earlier about the COVID-19 and things of that nature. And it's not that I don't disagree with you. If you you don't always listen to our Sunday shows, we have actually talked about the whole idea that there was an actual level 4 lab in Wuhan at the time. And
yeah.
That's nothing. We've talked about that and the fact that the military.
That's my tinfoil for the evening. That's a little further I want to get into.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten as far as realizing that the military there, the Chinese military, went on lockdown back in I think it was September.
Oh wow! It was early, as early as that. Man.
Yes,
that's crazy.
They went on lockdown before anybody knew, before citizens knew about it. So
well, I mean, I'm going to swear up and down. I believe I contracted it already because I don't remember back in November, October time frame.
Yeah,
everyone started getting this weird sickness. Everyone's got this weird cough, and everyone was being sick. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
I think it was on your radio show, and I sounded like crap one night. I was like,
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I think that was the first go around. I really think it's been around that long, and no one really, noticed it. I mean, it was right around the time flu season's kicking off and the cold season's kicking off.
Well, I'm not saying that isn't possible because it is. In my thought, though, I don't think so. Not because I'm disagreeing with you, but because I think it really didn't make it over here until more around December. Because if the military locked down in October, people in Wuhan traveling, that it takes them two weeks before they're shedding for 2 weeks, unless someone came directly into Florida from Wuhan, from traveling or whatever.
Well, Florida's a big destination.
I heard
Orlando there with all its attractions and stuff like that, and so.
Yeah, and that's just it. There's a lot of speculation, and I don't think we'll ever know the truth. I really don't.
No, we won't.
I think that unless the Chinese government were to fall, and we could raid all their records, their government records, and find out the truth, I don't
still wouldn't find the truth.
Exactly. We're not going to find it. It's kind of like what happened when the wall went down in Russia, what was once the Soviet Union. You remember all the top secret stuff that people left behind. And people were like, wow, look at all this stuff. And they were talking about all the things that came out because records got abandoned.
Well, not to date myself, but I was a toddler when it happened. So
that's true. You were just a kid. And that's okay. That's part of our good part about WTF is the military is multi-generational, and so therefore WTF also is. Okay. Well, we do have some stories, so we can have some fun. We don't have to talk about too many serious things. If that sounds like something you'd like to listen to.
Oh, I'm all about it. I'd rather hear something different than this COVID, and ambulance running around in my neighborhood all the time. So it works.
Okay, here we go. Self-isolate in style. Scott's chef offers fine dining takeaways. Edinburgh. Campbell Mickle slices a kiwi fruit in the Meridian restaurant in the plush Edinburgh suburb of Stockbridge when his concentration is broken by cell phone. He answers and his eyes light up as he engages with the caller who wants to do something rather unusual. Order a social distancing delivery of the restaurant's award-winning cuisine. Delivering a meal in a foil container is not something I would normally consider, but these are unusual times, says Mickle. Business has been wiped out. We don't get bookings, we only get cancellations. So we've had to come up with a way of surviving and doing things that we weren't prepared to do before. The menu designed for customers looking to self-isolate in style. Later in the day, the First Minister of the devolved government in Edinburgh, Nicola Sturgeon, announces there were 227 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Scotland, with 3 deaths. Shortly before lunchtime, orders for roast salmon and lobster sauce, beef bourdon, and chicken chasseur with bottles of wine to accompany have already come in. Can you imagine the
delivery service right now is doing excellent. That's all I gotta say. Like if Grubhub and all them would have went public before all this happened, I would have screamed conspiracy. But
yeah, right. With me, this is the interesting part for me. You know how they're doing it now. At least where I'm at. We ordered pizza. They do not allow you to tip cash. They do not.
Interesting.
They insist that you. They prefer that you use debit. If you have to use credit card, they ask you to use your own PIN. And what they actually do is they show up with with your food, the pizza, inside a plastic bag, showing that they have not touched it. The contents inside. They put your stuff down outside your door, knock on your door, and step away. If it has to be signed, they ask you to use your own pen, then put it down and close the door with the contents, and then they'll take the ticket and walk away.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is an introvert's paradise at this point. Stay the hell away from me, please.
And this is funny. My wife is an introvert. I'm an extrovert. Okay. She's loving this.
Well, I'm the ultimate introvert. You know me for a while.
Oh,
so
yes,
just mind my business, stay to myself.
Exactly, right? So, my wife, like I said, I set her up with her corner office because she's still working, but at home. And I was listening earlier, and I heard the whole cats bopping heads on windows. Oh,
it sounds entertaining to me for some weird reason.
It's just humor. My wife will sit. When we went to commissary, she got 2 bags of birdseed.
Wow.
She goes through a bag of birdseed a week, and she doesn't put in. She puts some in the feeder, but then she puts it on our strip of our porch railing, and puts a bowl right in front of the window. And then she also has stuff for the squirrels.
See, I'm a big hummingbird guy. I like hummingbirds.
Oh,
so
yeah.
hummingbird feeder.
Well, the it's a little too early for the hummingbirds here.
Okay, but like my story right now is I'm kind of like a refugee right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been stuck in South Carolina. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm with the family and everything. But when this all kicked off, I was kind of like visiting for Thanksgiving, and I decided, well, I'm going to stay for Christmas. Since I'm here,
Yeah.
I don't have anything going on, and now this shit popped off, and I'm like, well, I ain't getting on no airplane right now.
Yeah, I know, right? So now, do you still have a place to go back to? Have you been able to pay rent and everything?
Oh no! I've been paying my rent, and I mean, I got a place to go back to. When everything kind of settles down, hopefully, if it ever does.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, Kamo says he misses you since you left, but Hyperbot came in. He was saying, I have the whole room to myself.
Yeah.
But no, that social distancing, you got to have fun with it. I mean,
I've been enjoying it. Trust me, I've been enjoying it.
Well, it's kind of like, okay, Netflix, Hulu, all that stuff, if you can afford it. And that's the other problem is, people are all of a sudden, may not have money to afford it.
That's the rough thing, and I feel really bad for a lot of the people. While I've been here in South Carolina, me and my mom like to go to a local pub, an Irish pub,
yeah,
in this area, and they closed it down. And I feel really bad for all the bartenders, the bar hops, and the cooks that worked in there that now just lost their jobs.
Well, now here's the thing. Okay, Trump finally got that bill passed, and I just heard on Friday, the first day that the small business loans were available, over $5 billion were taken out in small business loans, where the promise is if you use it for payroll, insurance, and property, that it will turn into a grant. And over $5 billion was taken out the first day alone.
Well, I mean, that's legit. I mean, I know there's a lot, like where I live in South Carolina, well, where I'm currently stranded in South Carolina is a big college town.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of newer restaurants popping up all over the place. And when I first came here, there was a newer restaurant opening. I was like, oh, this is cool. And now they're shut down. And they literally had maybe a month of open time, open door time to serve.
And it usually takes 6 months to a year to even become to get out of the red. In other words, to actually make bank.
I'm used to seeing businesses I've been in and out of this area my whole life because this is where my family's from. And I'm used to, that business shut down or that place shut down or
exactly.
this place shut down. Every time I come back, restaurant business is probably, what they say, every 5 you start, you'll have one successful one.
Exactly.
Or something like that. So it's just ridiculous seeing this. I mean,
the profit margins in restaurants are so low. Where my wife works, because they sent everybody home with computers. It's simple as that. Out of 300 people, only 10 are allowed in the office now.
Which begs the question, did she really have to go to work all this time? She could just stay home and work.
Actually, they do find that they kind of do need to, because that's how they learn. My wife happens to be one of the more knowledgeable people, but to learn some of the stuff you have to learn, you actually do need to be in close quarters. So, but what I was saying was, they remind everybody in the staff, try to buy something local once a week, food-wise.
Oh, yeah. Definitely like the farm to table kind of thing, like your local.
Just so everybody, so that they can keep someone afloat. Make sure to go local. So that's what they're doing. Because none of them lost their jobs. None of them are being laid off. It's just they have to work out of their at home. In fact, that's the funny part. Okay, I'm in my house, right? It's not loud. It's not noisy. Some of these ladies had to go home to 3 and 4 kids who are no longer in school, who are still young.
I've got an Army friend of mine that's dealing with that right now. He's like, I'm not used to this. It's driving me crazy because he's a stay-at-home dad, right? So he gets his break throughout his 8-hour break throughout the day, so it's nice and quiet. Now it's just nonstop for him at that point.
Oh yeah, you ought to hear these ladies talk. It's like you'd think they hated their children, and they don't. It's just it's hard, and it really is hard for people, and you have to remember. Which kind of goes into my next story. Embrace your passion. Confinement tips from French barrel sailor, which I found an interesting thing in and of itself. Frenchman Jean-Jacques Savin, 73, made a splash last year by crossing the Atlantic alone in a custom-built barrel. A 127-day trip that was followed by thousands via his regular Facebook posts. In an interview with AFP, the former paratrooper revealed his tactics for fending off cabin fever after France issued strict stay-at-home orders this week to fight the coronavirus outbreak. Savin spent 4 months in a barrel with just 6 square meters, 65 square feet of cramped living space. So any advice for people confined to their homes? Everyone needs to embrace their passion. This time of isolation can be an opportunity for discovery. Start drawing. Learn to play the harmonica if you don't bother the neighbors. Hey, Luke, it's good to see you, man. You need to tire yourself out physically, not mentally, and walk as much as you can. Above all, don't zone out in front of the television all night and then sleep until noon. Savin managed almost half a year of solitude during a trip on which he was just carried along by the currents. When you decide to take on a challenge, no matter what difficulty comes up, except for health problems, you know at one point it will be over. The solitude never bothered me. I actually appreciated it because I chose it. I wrote my journal. I read a lot. I exercised. I adapted to the solitude. The weather. I emptied my head and accepted that it would be long. I also knew that it was just for a while. Now,
this gets into something I posted probably a couple days ago on my personal Facebook page.
What did you say?
I said I've heard so many of my friends and acquaintances throughout my life say, "I wish I had time to write a book about my life."
Yeah,
I said, "Now is the opportunity. You have all the time in the world. Sit down and just write a book." And
oops. Damn, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. There we go.
Don't hit the red button.
Yeah, right. No, here's something that I have to say. Okay. I have an elliptical at home. Okay. My wife and I decided that we would do elliptical, each of us half an hour every day. I do it as soon as I get up. She does it at lunchtime. And believe it or not, that actually picked my spirits up. Now, not everybody
exercise is a good thing.
Not every one of you has an elliptical at home. Here's the one thing I can tell you. They do encourage walking outside.
Outside, away from people.
Well, and this is the thing. As long as you aren't gathered in a group, you're just going for a walk. No one is. The problem with gathering inside is it's confined. There's no winds. The air stays where it is. Okay. On the outside, air flows. So the likelihood that you're going to catch it from someone is very low because there's other things in the air that kill the virus. So the likelihood is if you go for a walk outside, you're going to be just fine. And you're better.
I have noticed that in my neighborhood over the last 2 weeks, a lot more people out about just walking or riding bikes, just trying to keep themselves busy is what I'm noticing.
And I've been noticing the same thing. A lot of people riding bikes, a lot of people going out for walks. That is okay. And it clears your mind. It takes away the cabin fever. If the weather's good enough, start doing things with your lawn. If you live in an apartment, just go for a walk. Go for a 30-minute walk. Every 10 minutes, stop and do push-ups and sit-ups. Come on, you did it in the Army.
Oh yeah. You know what I did yesterday?
What'd you do?
I got so. My mom got up and she started cleaning. And she works evenings. She's a correctional officer, but so she works evenings, so it's really hard for her to do things. And her car was looking pretty nasty. My granddad's car was looking pretty nasty. So I said, I'm going to wash and detail the outside of these cars. And I turned this old, I think it's like a 1987 Chevy Corsica, I think is what it's called, into, it looks brand new. I was just bored, whatever, do your passion at that point. I like detailing cars. That's kind of like, what is it? What do they call that? Like the focused energy kind of thing.
And that's just it. I mean, Luke is sitting here saying he's writing a new song. The kids are making it harder, but it is okay with though it's a blessing to have children love my music and they want to learn it. It's just to write when it's just hard to write when he's interrupted. That's just it, everybody. The only thing that is stopping you is you. It is easy to sit down and binge watch something.
That's the thing. I would keep telling, like, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm sitting binge watching this. I've been like I finally made it through all of Netflix." Well, get out and do something.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't have to go to a bar. You don't have to go to Walmart. You don't have to go. You could go out and take a jog around the cul-de-sac. You know
what I say?
Something simple like that.
You know what I say? If you're going to binge watch, this may help you. At the end of every show, if you're with Netflix, it gives you a chance to click on to the next episode. Click to the next episode and then immediately pause it and do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, and 10 squats.
Oh, that sounds like it hurts.
But it's only every, 42 to 50 some minutes?
Oh, yeah, you'd be a beast by the time you're done binge watching.
Exactly. If you keep doing that, what are you doing? You're getting circulation rather than just sitting there.
I'm sure my grandfather would love me hearing me at like 3 o'clock in the morning binge watching something and all of a sudden pause and sit up and jumping jacks. Oh.
And see, David, he's turning his basement into a BJJ gym. That's just it. Don't hesitate to do simple stuff.
Just do. If you if your bush needed trimming or all your landscaping needed done, and you're like, if you're staring at it being like, I need it done, just go out and do it.
Exactly. Okay. My doctors keep emphasizing how much of a disaster my body is. Okay. But I
do that all the time.
After 5.5 years of recovery, I still am not perfect. Okay. I still have quite a few issues. But I still do things. When I just said, after every show, hit pause, do 10 push-ups, do 10 sit-ups or leg lifters, and 10 squats. I'm actually doing 30 minutes on my elliptical, and every 10 minutes in that, I stop, get off it, do 10 push-ups, 10 leg lifts, and 10 squats, and then get back on the elliptical. Okay? If I can do it, you guys can do it. And I tell you what, it pays off. You feel better. You don't feel like the walls are crawling in on you. When you're sitting...
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
What was that? I was reading an article about like depression and anxiety is going to be really bad during this.
Oh yeah,
because people just don't know how to cope. Like being stuck in a house, people really don't know how to do it.
No,
me, that's my normal day. To me, this is like, oh, okay, cool. Let's see, I'm going to walk 2 feet here, get a cup of coffee. I'm going to sit in front of my computer and play some tabletop game.
Yeah.
For, that's my life. That's what I enjoy doing. Y'all get behind the power curve.
Well, and okay, I'm medically retired. I've been medically retired since 1991, 92. Okay? They don't prepare you to go home and do nothing. But that's what they tell you to do.
They don't. It's a thing too. Is I've noticed like a lot of older people. I don't want to say older people, but people who hit retirement age, and they start getting their pension, and they're like, "What do I do with myself now?"
Exactly. And believe it or not,
and
go ahead.
They don't know what to do. A lot of them are just like go out, get a second job, find a hobby, do something. It's not that hard.
I'm going to date myself here a little bit. Back when I was a medic and working in a TMC, the joke used to be, because it used to be retirees didn't report into the hospital. They'd go to a pre-assigned TMC. They'd go through the TMC, and the TMC determined if they needed to go to the hospital. So the TMC saw sick call for both active duty and retirees.
Ooh.
And the joke was that, kind of a sick joke actually, is 5 years after you were retired, you had a heart attack. Because as soon as you got out, what's the thing everybody talked about? I'm going to go home, I'm going to sit down, and I'm just going to put my feet up and,
Fort couch. I'm going to Fort couch.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna put rear ends and recliners. I'm a mechanic. I'm gonna put rear ends and recliners at that point.
And that's just it. A lot of people did it. Well, we started encouraging people to go to the on-post gyms that had free classes and go do something. And they did, and it actually helped their depression. Right now, the World Health Organization, White House, nobody's talking about depression. Nobody's talking about suicide rates.
Anxiety is a killer. It will make your heart explode.
Nobody is talking about that. But you and I know it's out there, guys. Like, David's saying, BJJ has done wonders for my anxiety PTSD. They closed gyms, so that's why I'm turning my basement. And yeah, you can't go home and do nothing. They closed my gym too. That's just it. I went to a gym. I can't go there. They closed it. I dug out.
It's just funny. My cousin brought up a fact. He's like, at what point did we determine that Walmarts were cleaner than gyms?
Yeah, exactly.
Like people were flooding into Walmart, but gyms were closed. I'm like, wait a minute. Walmart's nasty. You got little kids, crotch goblins, like rubbing their snot all over the place,
Exactly. So here's the thought. Go home. You are home.
We're here.
You can do things. You were in the military. Go to your steps and put your foot, start out. If you haven't done push-ups in a long time, come on, do the push-ups where you bend your knees. Then work up to where you can do a full board push-up. Then you can do push-ups with your feet on steps. Work it up. You know how to do it. Hell, you've been through worse. You're top 4%. Use your brain. Yeah, right. People wipe off their machines at gyms most of the time. Exactly.
Pick up woodworking or something like that. Like you've been, I want to be woodworking, or I want to be a blacksmith. I want to learn blacksmith. Pick up a hobby trade skill off the side that you can make some money off of in this. This would be a good opportunity too.
Well, here's the other thing. Board games.
Oh, we'll get into this real quick. You go ahead with that.
Okay. There are, Amazon is still working, and yes, they've prioritized certain things. But you can still order a board game, and it'll be there within a week. And if you're with a family, what's stopping you from a board game?
Now I'm going to get into my thing, is if you had a family board night week or like just an adult get together where you were playing board games.
Yep.
There's this awesome thing on the PC. It's called Tabletop Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Where it has all the physics and everything. Like you can pick the dice up and roll it, and there's a workshop with 1 million games. So you don't have to end your, weekly meetup to play games. You all just log into the computer, download. I think it's like $15.
Yeah.
So one board game that you could play all the board games, and you can still get together and meet together with your social distancing. I can't even say distancing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can still have your meetups and continue on with normal life, but you can distance yourself from doing it.
And guys, I'm going to say this, and I'm really... It sounds like I'm repeating, but I'm going to repeat myself. At the end of every show, 10 push-ups, 10 leg lifts or sit-ups, and 10 squats.
Overhead arm claps. Oh.
You did a lot worse when you were younger. This is nothing. And, okay, I have arthritis in every joint in my body. I have fibromyalgia in all my muscles. I have all sorts of tendon and ligament problems. And I am doing 10 push-ups, 10 leg lifts with a 10-pound medicine ball in my hands, and 10 squats with a 10-pound medicine ball in my hands. If I can do it, you can do it. So don't tell me you can't, and don't tell me you're no, there's no such thing as lazy. You were not lazy in the military, unless of course you were Air Force. Sorry, I had to do that. You can do this.
Unless you worked out of the mailroom in the Army, too. That's.
But come on, guys, you are capable. This is your time to show, and there's nothing wrong with it. And guys, I do log in during the week. I'm actually now doing shot at the Air Force. I know, haha. I am doing meditations online under Healing the Human and the Being. If you can't find it, just look up John Owl. You'll get there. Okay. I'm doing it at no cost.
I was actually going to ask you, because I know you're a very spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, like with churches and stuff like that? Like, I know people meet up, and I know we don't talk religion, but I said churches in general, like temples or whatever it is. Like, what would be like the best course right now?
There are a lot of churches that have already been catering to their seniors by broadcasting online. And so they just now tell everybody that the sermon's going to be online. So you can, if you went to a church, see if they did that already. If they don't, ask if they are going to do it or if they know of a church that does. Because I know there's one in Nebraska personally. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate it. In fact, you know what? I'm going to type this in as I'm doing it. I know there's a Presbyterian church from Nebraska that personally I know they do services online every Sunday.
But so that's like a normal routine of your life. Don't quit it. You can still do it. No?
Yeah, you need.
So the point was I was trying to get across on that. No?
Yeah, you need that routine. Don't forget that routine. It's a part of you, and it helps uplift you. As silly as it sounds, go find yourself a chat room that you can communicate. I don't know how, some of you are watching on Facebook, some of you are watching on Mixer, some of you are watching on this, that, and the other thing, okay? But I know for a fact, if you go to Facebook and you can go to a chat room and talk to people, and if you want to talk to someone face-to-face, as long as you have a camera, all you have to do is go to the message. If you want to talk to someone specifically, you go to their messenger, and then there's a little camera thing. You hit that, and you're actually going to call them, and you're going to talk to them face to face. That's another way to keep in touch with people. Your lines of communication are there as long as you explore it. Okay? You always have that chance. Don't ever forget about it, okay? I'm going to do another story while we're still talking. Let's see. I don't want to do that one. That's kind of intricate. There we go.
Florida man.
I didn't find any good Florida man this week. Jaguars and underpants when Olympic torches relays go wrong. Now, everybody knows that the Olympics this year are not going to happen this year. They're going to be held in Japan next year. But everybody knows that there's an Olympic torch run. Well, they never show you the oopses during these Olympic torch runs. From a Jaguar on the loose to an elaborate hoax involving burning underwear, the Olympic torch relay has had its fair share of mishaps. As Japan postpones the 2020 relay after the games were delayed over the new coronavirus, AFP looks back at some of the trials and tribulations of the event. First run ahead of the Berlin Olympics in 1936. Flaming underpants. Probably the most memorable stunt surrounding the torch relay back in 1956 was an Australian student named Barry Larkin fooled crowds with a homemade torch topped by burning underpants. Larkin managed to get his torch, a wooden chair leg crowned with a metal pudding container holding the fiery underwear, up the stairs of Sydney's town hall and deliver it to the city mayor, Pat Hills, cheered on by tens of thousands. Oh, God. Another one, Jaguar on the run. A 17-year-old Jaguar named Juma was lined up for photos as a torch passed through the Amazon in North Brazil during the relay for the Rio Olympics in 2016. But Juma escaped its handlers, and 4 tranquilizer darts fired at the animal failed to slow it down. After it threatened a vet, soldiers opened fire on the Jaguar, in danger of extinction and the symbol of Amazon, and shot it dead. That's sad. Fried doves. Oh boy. The climax of the relay,
sounds good.
the lighting of the Olympic cauldron, has provided some unforgettable moments, such as Muhammad Ali trembling to light it as he suffered from Parkinson's disease, and an archer's blazing arrow in Barcelona. I remember that one. But things have not always gone smoothly. The most grisly blunder came in Seoul in 1988 when dozens of doves released earlier in the opening of the ceremony landed on the cauldron. When the flame was lit, several of birds were ignited to the horror of watching spectators.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, no. And you don't see how many of you, unless you were really there at the time, did you catch it, right?
I wasn't there, but
oh, God. Heated protests. The torch relay has been the target of several protests, most notably during the run up to the Beijing Olympics, as demonstrators took China to task over its Tibet policy. Protests started even when the flame was lit in ancient Olympia and dogged the relay throughout its journey to China, notably as it passed through London, Paris, and San Francisco. In Japan, monks at an ancient Buddhist temple pulled out a pulled out of hosting a torch ceremony because of the Chinese crackdown in Tibet. The relay ahead of Sydney 2000 also suffered from isolated protests. One spectator grabbed it out of hands of a former world surfing champion, Tom Carroll, as he traveled along the New South Wales south coast and tried to hurl it into Kilmona Harbor before being wrestled to the ground. A high school student also tried to put out the torch with a fire extinguisher. Interesting. Lighting hiccups. Although the Olympic flame is supposed to be eternal, problems with the lighting mechanism have caused it to go out several times. I've heard of these.
A few of them.
In 2012, officials had to hastily relight the flame from a standby mother flame when it vanished from the side of Paralympic badminton star David Fowler's wheelchair in blustery weather in southwest England. Olympic torches made by a Russian missile manufacturer for the Sochi Winter Games in 2014 were dogged with problems, going out several times and have to be discreetly relit by Secret Service officers. Interesting.
So my big question.
Uh-huh.
Does a torch have to take another round?
Well, and that's
for the year.
That is a good question. I didn't think of. No, actually it doesn't. I actually remember hearing something about this. They went ahead, and since the games are going to be held in Japan anyway, and the Olympic Stadium is already built and ready, they went ahead and put it in there. They're going to do a relighting for ceremony, but the flame itself is going to be considered there.
So the flame is not on, but it is on.
Yes.
So it's a Schrodinger's cat flame.
Kinda. Schrodinger's. Not Schrodinger. Yeah, Schrodinger's. Yes. You're right.
Yes, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's the quantum flame. Okay, cool. The first Olympic quantum flame. I got it. All right.
Things that you don't think about, because I had heard that they're going to postpone the Olympics for a year, and it's going to be on an odd year, something that has not happened. And they said that since the stadium is already ready, everything's already ready, and the flame has already made it there, that they're just going to keep it there.
So it's a quantum flame.
Yes.
It's either on fire or on fire. Either or. It don't matter at that point.
Another animal story. This is interesting. It's always interesting how things happen.
Carol Baskins.
Nope, not now. No. Wild puma captured in a deserted Chile capital. Think about that. In Chile, right? A wild puma was captured after it was found wandering around the deserted center of Santiago in search of food, Chilean officials said on Tuesday. Chile is under a nighttime curfew due to the coronavirus pandemic. The puma came down to the capital from nearby surrounding hills. Think about this. I brought this story up because, okay, I live in a place where we actually have deer and cougars that wander in during certain times of the year. And those times of the year are starting to come around, and there are fewer vehicles and fewer people out. And
less people, so they're going to be more predatorial.
Exactly. Think about this, huh?
You all be careful on your walks around the cul-de-sac because there might be a cougar sitting there waiting on your ass. I'm not talking about the good cougar. I'm talking about the bad cougar.
You're usually okay during the day. It's nighttime that you really have to worry. Most of them are more predatorial at night. During the day, they try to kind of, if there's noise, they try to hide. But at night is when they're at their best. So it's just something to think about. But I didn't even think about that until I saw that story. It's like, you know what? We actually had a deer. We actually have a deer that comes back here every year. and she brings her fawns in the next year. We've had several of them now. They actually come here to give birth in either my yard or my neighbor's backyard. And I sat there going,
deer, so they're safe. They feel safe there. That's the safe zone.
And you got to think they have to make it in through traffic and everything else. Well, there's less traffic, and that means the predators can make it in further.
Well, you might have to start patrolling your perimeter for cougars.
Exactly.
So you can protect the baby deers.
That's just that's something to kind of think about. As those of you who live in the city, you may want to start thinking, because I've seen pictures of New York, and it's like an apocalyptic movie. Okay.
Oh, wait till them raccoons start coming out of the trash cans.
Right. Streets are just clear.
Them city raccoons, you don't mess with them city raccoons.
So at this point, you have to wonder, because the season, they start coming down from the mountains. And right about now. This is the time where they start looking for food at lower elevations. So we're going to be seeing it here soon, guys. So be careful. All right, I kind of wanted to close things out with kind of a feel good. And so I'm going to go ahead and give the last story that I'm going to give out tonight. Customer leaves a $10,000 tip anonymously in a Florida restaurant.
Wow.
Right? Oop, wrong. Yep, right. Right one. Okay. Miami. A customer left a $10,000 tip to be divided among the employees of a Florida restaurant a day before it was forced to close because of the coronavirus outbreak, the owner said. Ross Edlund, the owner of Skillets in Naples, Florida, said on the restaurant's Facebook page on Thursday that the gesture shows there are still truly fantastic people in the world. We have an amazing Skillets family that extends to our guests as well. We couldn't be happier to be part of the community where this type of generosity exists. That customer handed a $10,000 in cash to the manager of the restaurant last week, a day before the state's governor ordered the closure. I mean, we talk
that's
about...
Epic.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's epic. That's awesome. I wish more people would be like that. If you've got money, do things like that for people.
We talk about the good and the bad of people. This is the good. Now, not all of us have $10,000 to hand out.
Well, if I had billions of dollars, if I was Jeff Bezos, a lot of people would be doing well, but that's just me.
But it doesn't always have to be in money. It can be in just simple gestures. Remember, there are a lot of people out there, and I'm going to say this because, I know it because of my wife. There are a lot of people home right now that are not used to being alone with their kids 24/7. And they still have to work. My wife, she has to work. Her coworkers have to work. And they still have to deal with their kids at the same time. If you are alone, how hard would it be to say, hey, I can watch the kids for an hour? By now, you know if those kids got something. It's been 2 weeks.
If you've been practicing social distancing.
Exactly. I mean, of course, don't just go. Know that the family's been practicing the stay-at-home thing, okay? But help each other out. Give each other a little bit of a rest. Remind each other that we're human.
It's too easy to make a lunch for kids. People.
Exactly.
You just make a lunch. Say, hey, I see you're struggling with kids. Here's lunch today, and you don't have to worry about it.
There's
Makes
a lot
people's lives easier.
it's not, and there are parents out there that, I sat there and talked about there are kids out there who depended on the school programs for a warm lunch. Sometimes it's not even that the parents can't afford the lunch. It's that they don't have the time, because there are still people working, and they are even working at home, and they've got to make time now to feed those kids. And those kids are making it hell on those parents, not because they are doing it on purpose. They're just being kids. So take the time to look at your surroundings, think about your friends, and see if there's a way you can do one simple act. I'll take your kid for an hour on a walk. Or for lunchtime, I'll bring over lunch. You go for a walk away from your kids. Something as simple as that may help from child abuse, may help from any kind of domestic abuse, may help
hunger and period. Some people can't afford food.
Yeah, and it may help them from going hungry, and it may help just overall tensions. Something to think about this next week. Keep a positive outlook and think about how you can help others, because as you know, the last 2 days I've done meditations online. And the one thing I do now at the end of my meditations, everybody knows I always say, keep it simple, keep it real, and remember to smile. Well, I'm now explaining it because I want people to really remember and understand the reason I say it. When I say keep it simple, the more you make things complicated, the harder and more energy you put out. Therefore, it's harder for you to stay positive.
The old Army acronym KISS.
Yes.
Keep it simple, stupid, or something like that.
That's exactly
the proper way to say it. But if it's easy, it works good.
It's simple.
So it works.
Okay, keep it real. You do have to remember to be real. Life is going to go on. Life went on before this. Life is going on during this. And life will go on after this. So keep it real about that. Keep perspective. And the last thing I always say is remember to smile. Because when you smile, you emanate that smile. And it also emanates within yourself. So if you help one person who's overburdened or just needs to be reminded, go over and say, hey, let's go for a walk. Or I'll take your kids for a walk for an hour, okay? Or half an hour, even half an hour. I'll take your kids for a walk for half an hour. You have just helped someone smile. And that can go for a lifetime of positivity. All it takes is one act, and you may have just turned around someone's whole week. Because when you're shut indoors, you forget what time is. And what was one day actually becomes a week. And that week only seems like one day, and it just gets really weird. Exactly, Luke. If you're having a hard time finding Healing the Human and the Being or an owl watching, just look up John Owl. You know my symbol, or you know my logo, and I'll send you a link to Healing the Human and the Being, where I'm doing meditations. If I'm not doing meditations, I'm doing gaming. One of the two. Remember these things, guys. We need to help each other. We've always been there for each other, trying to remember 22 dead a day. Well, now it's not just us. It's everybody. People who have never had to deal with being shut in are being shut in. And they can't handle it.
Welcome to lockdown.
Exactly. We have the ability to do many things because we have been trained to sit there and stare at something for hours at a time.
We can stare at goats until their brains explode.
But that doesn't mean everybody else can. Let's be the top 4%, and let's prove it. I believe in you. All right, everybody, we are towards the end of the show. It is time to do housekeeping. We have guests coming up. On the 6th of April, this Monday, we have John Coleman from Kwok Daniel Law Firm. John Coleman is a veteran currently working for the Kwok Daniel Law Firm. They are helping veterans with lawsuits against 3M for defective earplugs. This issue is plaguing the veteran community, but due to the message being overshared on social media and television, it is driving veterans away from this case. So, if you have, I think it what?
Got to check that one out.
Yeah, I think it's like from 1998 to 2006. If you fall in that bracket, you might want to listen. All right, then we have guests on the 21st of April, Tuesday, Mark Baker from Charlie Mike Comics. Mark Baker is a retired U.S. Army Master Sergeant. His Private Murphy cartoons ran in the Army Times for 8 years, starting in 2000. After a 10-year hiatus, Mark is back to doing Murphy cartoons, as well as his newest endeavor called Charlie Mike Comics. He will be on the 21st of April. That should be fun. And
those are always good to watch or read, at least.
Exactly. And then on the 28th, another Tuesday, we have comedian J.P. Walsh. Returning guest J.P. is a Navy veteran who is now a comedian. He has performed 20-plus tours to the troops in Iraq and Afghanistan and has toured with the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. J.P. is also partnered with the organization Armed Services Arts Partnership. So, CQ is bringing in some comedians. That should be fun. Don't hesitate to tune in to that, everybody. That will be enjoyable. Now, we have shows on Monday. We have the Monday night edition with Ice and Flash. Tuesday, we have Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and, who? I thought
it's just kind of up in the air right now.
I know. For now, it's Radar, but that may change. Wednesday is our Danza or Meditation Day. Thursday is our Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky. And then, of course, you have Sundays with Kicking It with Koz and Owl. I am Owl. We have partners, both War Horses for Veterans and the Veterans Report. Please always look them up and check them out. All right, everybody, it is at the end of the show. Thank you for being here. Remember, this week, it only takes one act to change someone's life. Do it once and you'll find you'll want to keep doing it again just because it makes you feel good. Help yourself out and help others. We are the top 4% of the United States because we are the top 4% that answered the call when others did not. Remind yourself of that every day because you deserve it. You earned it. All right. Any words of wisdom, Mr. Pookie?
Yes, I'll quote the Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda again. And tomorrow is a mystery, yesterday is history, and today is a gift, and that's why they call it the present.
There you go. I think that is truly a good thing, a good way to think. I will say, as always, I will not give my explanation because I already have. Keep it simple, keep it real, and remember to smile because you just don't know whose day you're going to change just by doing so, including your own. All right, everybody. It's time to go ahead and sign off. I'll see you next week. I love every one of you, and I thank every one of you for being here. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And
bye, Felicia.
Good night.
Every morning seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But these days the only things that seem great are fading away, and the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road calls
as the wind blows. 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones. Hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows?
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change, no. We're never gonna change.
Man, day after day, it's just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing. A part of a machine with the ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that some will never change. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do. Look me in the eye and you will find truth. I'm testifying to the lying in my mic booth. And you're hating on me cause I ain't like you, and I ain't like you.
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change, no. We're never gonna change. Yo, my life is like a movie that nobody's producing. I write the music but nobody is moving, cause don't nobody care and everyone's confused till the characters change and never reaching a conclusion. And I don't know if I'll make it to the end, cause all I know is after we begin, the wind shifts us in many different directions, like the pen lifts up off the paper, disconnected from anything we can feel, hear and see. And the words that I write mean something more than just to me. It's amazing that we've all grown accustomed to change, cause we can rearrange a pattern that's always been ingrained. They want us to grow up and stop acting how we want, but if you tell me I can't do something, I'll make sure it gets done. Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change, no. We're never gonna change.
WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.